No. Online. Okay, I have 10 o'clock by my watch. That clock there looks a little bit slow, so I'd like to. It's 10 o'clock. You call the meeting order, please. If you are watching online and would like to speak, please hit the raise the hand function on Zoom and turn on your microphone and camera. And announce your name and address for the record, please. Item 2, motion approving the minutes of the June 2nd, 2025 meeting of the Midland Development Corporation. Any public comment? Any discussion from the board? I'll entertain a motion for approval. So moved. I'll second. We have a motion and second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passed. Item 3, resolution approving the budget for the Midland Development Corporation 2025-2026 fiscal year. Budgeted sales tax revenue for 2026 is 15 million. Operational expenses will increase moderately to reflect inflation. The budget is balanced with expenditures equaling revenues. Is there any public comment? Any discussion from the board? I will entertain a motion for approval.
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Resolution authorizing the designation of 35% of MDC's fiscal year 2024-2025 sales tax revenue for authorized infrastructure improvement projects pursuant to Texas Local Government Code 501.103. In 2021, the MDC board designated 30% of sales tax revenue for infrastructure. That designation has been met every year. The additional 5% designation is for fiscal year 2024-2025, reflects additional needs to accommodate growth, infrastructure projects, and will be brought to the board for consideration at the August 4th meeting. Is there any public comment?
I'd like to comment. I think this is a really important factor for our city growth. We've seen that this has really been able to solve the need that we had at Todd Drive, which has been an ongoing concern where the overpass needed to be built out. So this is how we were able to fund a portion of the study for that. And then that's going to allow us now to get $26 million from TxDOT to advance that project several years. And so these sorts of investments really are for the economic development of our community, but they're also for the overall benefit of the growth of our community. So I appreciate MDC's attention to that. I think 35% is really a good step in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comment? Any comment from the board?
I'm sorry, one more thing. Could we have a list provided, just that we could share publicly of all of the projects that have been funded with these dollars to date? Since the 30% designation, I think that's something that people need to be aware of. Yes.
And I think it's just important to clarify to people that the infrastructure still has to be related to economic development. So this helps us when we are needing to get roads out, new areas to get ahead of the game. This is not, we can't use this money to fix potholes. So I think it needs to be clarified for those online that think that might read something into this that we really can't use the money for. So
Thank you. Our return on investment has been fantastic. This investment for us, so I think this is really a good move for the next fiscal year. And can be revisited, obviously, the following year. Sure. Any further discussion? I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second,
I'll second.
we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 5, resolution authorizing the execution of an interlocal agreement with the University of Texas at the Permian Basin to advertise and publicize the city of Midland for the purposes of developing new and expanded business enterprises. This proposal authorizes the 2025-2026 Midland Entrepreneurial Challenge. The challenge is funded by promotional funds. The MDC has partnered with UTP for this initiative since 2017. From that date, 2017 through 2024, 34 Midland businesses have received $3.2 million in funding to grow their businesses. The agreement funding includes $500,000 in prizes and $61,000 in administrative costs, including staff time, marketing, and awards banquet. This is a decrease of $15,550 in administrative costs from last year's agreement. At this time, I'd like to introduce Brian Shedd, who has some slides and would like to make some comments.
Sure, yeah, should I come up the front?
Absolutely, thank you.
Yes, hello, everyone. Brian Shedd, so I'm the Executive Director for the Office of Innovation and Commercialization at UT Permian Basin. I've been here for about 4 years now and have had the opportunity to work on the Midland Entrepreneurial Challenge for the past 3 years. And it is really a very impactful community program. I've worked on a lot of different business accelerator challenges and competitions. This is by far the most impactful that I've seen. We can see the next slide. So I wanted to start off with just some statistics. You heard how many businesses participated in the program since 2017. We've had over 200 businesses compete in the last 4 years. And then more than 80% of our winners are still in business today. Last year, we had 160 people register for orientation, so tremendous turnout, okay? In fact, each year leading into the coming year's challenge, on our website, we just have a place for people to enter their email address so that when we get notification about this year's program, that we can update them on orientation. We've already had 29 people. We actually had 2 more this weekend, so we're up to 31 that have already signed up this year with no marketing. So the word is out. This is a very in-demand program for the community. Next slide is just kind of an overview of the timeline. So right now we're looking to finalize contracts, get approval from the board and from the city to move forward with the program for this year. We hit the ground running. So in August, we start marketing. September, the beginning of September is when our orientation sessions start. We hold 3 orientation sessions, can accommodate up to 180. We're actually increasing the number of registrations for orientation this year across 3 separate sessions, just to accommodate all the interest. Like I said, last year they were oversubscribed. We actually let in more people than we had space for in the registration sessions. Right after that, we open up the registration. We accept 50 businesses into the program. We've had to cap that at 50 just because of limitations on the consultants through the Small Business Development Center that review all of the pitch documents and business plans for the entire program. They've asked if we could cap that, just because it is a lot of information for them to go through and also for our judges to review. So we cap it at 50. It's kind of a random selection. If we get more than 50, we do a random selection to identify those 50. We do keep a couple in reserve just in case anybody drops out due to eligibility requirements. But then the seminars start September 23rd. We offer 9 different seminars across a variety of topics, covering, business planning, financial planning, marketing. We also have the City of Midland come in to talk about resources that the city offers with regards to permitting, and just different things that a business might have to interact with the city on. And then we have 2 rounds of elimination. So in October, we narrow down to about half of the field with a pitch document, which is kind of a sort of a executive summary. Round 2 comes later. The remaining businesses submit a full business plan limited to 30 pages, which includes the financials, 3-year financial projections. And so we narrow down from that to 8 finalists, and the final round, those 8 finalists come and pitch live. That's in early February. And our judges are really the ones who determine who moves on and who is ultimately awarded money. So they can award up to 150,000 per business, but no more than what is requested. During the lead up to the deliverables, we try to work with the companies on kind of what their ask is, make sure that it's right size for their business and their kind of growth projections. And so the judges will only award up to what is requested from the business, but oftentimes it's less than that. You know, we have $500,000 typically in prize money. So you kind of do the math there. If everybody gets 150K, there's going to be some money left over. So typically it's at the judge's discretion how to award those funds, and they can decide to fund, you know, portions of the ask. And so there's some restrictions that they can place on the companies in the award portion there. And then the next slide is just kind of an overview of some of our winners. You know, you will recognize a lot of these businesses up here. They really do become standouts in the community. I mean, that's, I think, one of the greatest things about this program is we just have some really fantastic businesses that have come through the program, have continued to grow in the community here, you know, add new employees. And I would like to point out, we have 2 of our previous winners here today that wanted to provide some comments to the board, if that would be okay.
Sure.
Yes,
Absolutely.
okay. Great, I'll start with Sarah Babel. She's one of our most recent winners from this past year with I'd Rather Bake.
Hi, so just a little bit of a background on me. I was a stay-at-home mom. I have 5 kids, and as my kids started to leave the house, I realized I had a lot of time and kind of turned a passion of mine into a business. Really quickly, it kind of escalated more than what I could keep up with. So just kind of going with the flow, and opening a store, I partnered with Elizabeth Smith at Sergeant Pepper's, kind of did a, you know, combination of us 2, still very much, could not keep up. So just kind of as a business owner, trying to every single day, try to figure out how to grow and to make my business bigger. This competition was huge. It came at our very busiest time. So sometimes I needed a little pushing to keep up with going, but it was invaluable. Not just the money. Obviously that has been amazing in letting us grow a little bit, get up, upgrading some of our equipment to be more efficient has been huge. Employ more people, come up with different ideas of how to grow our business, not just here in Midland, but full scale nationally. The coaching along the way was probably just as valuable as the money that we won. So the small business center out there was huge. I could ask all sorts of questions and get answers so fast, totally walked me through things in learning. Like I said, I was a stay-at-home mom, and running a business, starting a business from the ground up and growing it, totally out of my, you know, what I know. And so having that help along the way was huge. Not only the different every, you know, other week when we would have a different meeting, there was marketing, QuickBooks, all of the things that I had to learn as I went. And so that was huge. Then being able to collaborate with other businesses, getting different ideas with how other businesses are doing things was huge as well. And with what I do, I'm still reaching out and having businesses reach out to me to do collaboration. Small business is huge. Right now, with what's going on in West Texas or in South Texas, I had the food bank reach out to me yesterday to see if I could be a drop-off spot for all the donations they're doing. And I just think that's huge. That's what small business is all about, is community. And so that I love as well, with running my business. But I honestly, I'm so grateful for the opportunity that I had, it wasn't easy. And, it was very time consuming, but it was so invaluable. And I will say that other people in the competition that had done it years before and were still coming back because they were finding value in it as well. I was looking for every grant, everything I could. Cause you know, you hear, oh, women businesses, there's all this money out there available. Well, it's really hard to find. And I searched. So this was huge for us. I would do it again in a heartbeat, just because of the knowledge that I gained in all of the different aspects of every single meeting. I learned so much. And so as someone who's starting, which is basically what a lot of the small businesses are people starting from the ground up and having to learn as we go. And it's a hard process sometimes. I hate learning on the go. But the vast majority of us don't have business degrees or masters in business. So the help that the small business gave was huge, and continue to give, because I still reach out to them saying, hey, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? And immediately, so to them, to Cece, to you guys, I'm so grateful. I just want you to know that. And we're gonna do big things at Idaho Bay. We're looking for our second location on the Costco side of town. And I'm just really excited, and honestly, don't know that I could do it without the winnings from this competition. So I see big things for us, and it is because of this competition. So I hope you'll consider that and think of other people like myself that, you know, just kind of have a dream, and I'm 47 and just kind of getting started. So that's what I've got.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And next I'd like to introduce Laura Smith with the Birth Center.
Hi, thanks for letting me speak today. I'm Laura Smith, I'm the business director at the Birth Center Midland. The Birth Center received our funding from the Entrepreneurial Challenge in February of 2022 with $100,000. We used that to furnish and equip a facility, and by November of that year, we delivered our first baby. We've delivered experienced nurses who are in the early years of motherhood, want to keep up their keep their clinical skills active, and eventually, you know, be confident coming back into the healthcare fields full time when they're ready. We've doubled our original projections. We are gaining community trust, and we're a part of the region's maternal healthcare infrastructure at this point. We've had really great outcomes. But this isn't just about our impact, it's about the impact of the MEC. In the fall of 21, we were just an idea, you know, we were looking at real estate, talking to local physicians, developing a model, but it was the MEC that really accelerated our timeline. The prospect of the funding, you know, really encouraged us to formalize our business plan, you know, talk through the things that are important that we hadn't talked through yet, validate our model and make decisions faster. Through the UTPB's, you know, excellent facilitation, their classes, their mentorship, we were introduced to local banks, financing opportunities, financing tools, the Small Business Development Corporation, marketing firms came and presented that we eventually reached out to and got help from, and other community resources that we didn't even know existed until we had participated in this challenge. The whole challenge really gave us structure and accountability that we didn't have leading into it. As a judge, I was a judge this past year in the challenge. I really see how the challenge benefits local entrepreneurs. Many of them are receiving their first real feedback about their idea. Some are rethinking their approach, and then others are finding new direction and gaining confidence to move forward. Even those who don't receive funding, I know, leave confident and ready to move forward and expand, and will do that. I know businesses that were in this last year's challenge that are still moving forward despite the fact that they didn't win. It doesn't just launch 3 to 5 businesses a year. It strengthens the broader entrepreneurial ecosystem. It builds skills and readiness for local entrepreneurs. It's really starting, sustaining, and growing businesses and successful ventures that ultimately wouldn't have gotten a head start. It equips local innovators with tools they wouldn't otherwise access. It creates excitement and buzz, honestly. I mean, to Brian's point, the fact that people are already signing up without any marketing, they're hearing about it from past winners and past participants. And most importantly, the challenge, its existence and highlighting its winners sends a clear message to the city. That the city of Midland is investing not just in large corporations, but in local citizens and small businesses that really, drive quality of life and, ultimately, build and contribute to the industrious spirit that's part of this town. And I just hope it continues. I hope y'all, continue to see the value in it. Obviously our business has, but I see it way beyond just the walls of our person. Thank you.
Thank you.
I also just wanted to take a minute to recognize CC Serrato. She's our program coordinator and has been working on the MEC program for seven years, several years. But I think Laura summarized it well. This is really an impactful program. These are residents, these are entrepreneurs that have families and are looking to build more community here locally, to improve the quality of life. A lot of the winners that we have are in really key segments of growth for the community, healthcare, childcare, consumer services, all kinds of different resources. So CC and I, on behalf of UTPB, we're really honored to submit the proposal for this year. Happy to answer any questions that you have.
Any questions of Brian?
Brian, do y'all, how much, I know you said 80% of the businesses are still open. How much do you track them beyond that as far as sales, employees,
So they have some.
economic input type?
Sure, yeah, they have some requirements to kind of send us profit and loss statements for a few years after they're a winner in the program. But we was talking with Sarah kind of before the meeting, we could ask for employment data. That's not something that's currently included in that profit and loss statement. But we do track that just to make sure that they're using the award money appropriately and that their plans that were included in the business plan are coming to fruition.
Also, like the participants for this year, how frequent can a company or business participate? Is it if you lose next year, you can come back the very next year? Or
That's correct. Yeah, I mean, we've had winners that have competed 3 times and then won in their 3rd year. So yeah, you're welcome to come back. As long as you're not a prize winner from the previous year, you're welcome to come back. So it doesn't matter which round you got, eliminated from previously. You're welcome to come back and compete again.
Are these just open to citizens of Midland, or is it who can actually?
So the business that they're entering has to be headquartered in Midland. Yes. Oh, the city, yeah, the city of Midland. Yes, correct.
Further questions? Brian, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Is there any additional public comment? Any further discussion from the board? And I will call for a motion for approval. So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Item 6, presentation of the June 2025 Economic Development Activity Report from the Midland Development Corporation Executive Director Sarah Harris. Sarah, it's all yours.
Good morning. I did want to introduce Laura this morning. She is the new Business Development Coordinator for the Midland Development Corporation. So looking forward to having her work with all of you over the coming months. Several of you joined in a visit from an Australian delegation to Midland to explore furthering trade relations between Midland and the Permian Basin in South Australia. So thank you to those board members who were able to join in that. You have information on sales tax in your board packet. There was a modest decrease year over year. However, the projection is still to come in over budget for this year. Budget is 14 million for this fiscal year for sales tax collections. On your financial statements, if you will look at line 53909, prior year committed incentives, you will see the total of a little over 4 million. That is the total dollar amount that the MDC committed for the wastewater improvement project at State Highway 58 in Sinclair. Part of that had been previously placed in the 53905 expense line, and the city moved that to the correct expense line of prior year committed incentives. Those are my comments on the financial statements. I'm happy to answer any questions about those or about the Australian delegation's visit.
There any public comments?
Doug Campbell, 110 Ridgeland Drive. Just last month I had posed some questions. Those are still outstanding on mainly financial related things. I've been communicating with the mayor about that. So hopefully we'll get some answers soon. I think those will be helpful, and pertinent for the board members here. One thing that is partly included in that, but I would, just as general member of the public would like to be aware of is the projects that are standing that you are making payments on, or have continuing obligations on in the future, and any information on projects maybe in the pipeline that you're negotiating or working on. I understand NDAs may be in place that you can't give details on names, but maybe some general information about size and amounts and those sorts of things that at least to kind of be aware of what the board is looking at and what the NDC is looking at and approving. So it's
Thank you. Any further public comment? Any discussion from the board? Well, I have 10:27, and having concluded all the business of the board, I'll call for a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion.
Second. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. We are now adjourned. Thank you.